This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right, All About Home Construction here on WATA, and good morning, happy Saturday, Randy.
And happy Saturday to you, Terry, and everybody out there.
That's it. It's a lovely Saturday morning here, and we're recording the show a couple of days early because at this point on Thursday afternoon, we don't know if we're going to get a quarter inch of ice, 3 feet of snow, or a little bit of mix in between.
Yep, I'm worried about power.
That's where we're at right now. So if you're listening to this on Saturday morning, you can fill in the blanks on what's going on and listen to the forecast updated here in just a little bit.
Yeah, you can even call us the following Saturday and give us an update on what it did at your house.
That's right. And we're on the Facebook page, All About Home Construction on Facebook, or allabouthomeconstruction@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. And we like it, all those. And for those of you listening to us on the podcast, All About Home Construction, there's a comment section. So 3 simple ways to reach us during the week, and 1 easy way to reach us on a Saturday morning here at WATA in Boone. So we appreciate you all. And Randy, it's been a weird weather week the last week or two, with some snow, and then calling for snow that we didn't get, but some people did. And then cold weather.
Just wild, isn't it?
It's been cold, and then like when we're recording this on Thursday, it's like 45 degrees, and again, we don't know if we're going to get a little bit of ice or a lot of ice, or are we getting a little bit of snow or a lot of snow, or are we getting it all? So
yeah, that's a fact. It just, I don't know. You know, what's pretty wild was, sorry I wasn't here last Saturday, but Adam had flew in.
Nice. Good to see him.
And they were talking about out in Oklahoma City that this coming weekend they were getting 12 to 15 inches of snow, and they were also calling for the mountains of North Carolina to get 2 foot.
I was going to say,
week ago.
Like as the week's gone on, it's changed so much. I mean, there for a while they were even off the mountain, like in the Piedmont, they were afraid they were going to get 8 or 10 inches of snow, and I was like, that's not going to happen. But
yeah, and I was talking to a friend of mine in Atlanta this afternoon. I said, Danny, it might be getting ice.
Getting ice. But it's starting to, looks like some of the models are having it shift further north, and so that puts us on the ice ring instead of the snow ring. And anyway,
I just don't think we're going to get any 12 inches of snow.
No, I don't think. Like I said,
more like 3 to 5.
I'm kind of with you on that.
But you know how Mother Nature is.
Yeah. It could get this mountain and could stall out, and they could get that 24 inches, and then we'll all be laughing at Randy.
You know, even if Jim Cantori's scratching his head on this one.
So, anyway, it's fun. What do you do? That's the thing about the weather, right? Is like you can predict it and still have your job, right?
That's it.
So,
my daddy was a believer that if it's raining at our house, it wasn't raining on the job.
Well, there you go.
So we'd go to the job.
You'd get there,
and sometimes it's raining.
Sometimes
it wasn't.
Yep. So.
And I remember back when I was in high school, there'd be a lot of times that it'd be thunderstorming here, and we'd drive to the lake. The sun would be shining. Go water ski all day.
Yep. So these mountains. Gotta love it.
Yep.
But so. Anyway, it's been a fun week and a fun week or two, and got to install some floors. You'd be happy to see them.
Did you get them sanded?
I did. I got everything sanded. It was a chore. I'm out of shape and don't have the equipment I used to have, and had to rent equipment. And I'm sorry, there's just a difference and I'm a DIY guy. I mean, I love to DIY stuff myself, obviously, but there's just a difference when it comes to equipment and like professional equipment and DIY equipment.
Yeah, that's what I tell people.
It's night and day.
You can tell how much they care about their job by the equipment that they bring to work, like their skill saws and drills and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, that's it. And like I said, I love doing stuff myself, but there's some things that just, the knowledge alone isn't good enough. I mean, sometimes it does come down to the tools, and a lot of times it does come to the knowledge. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I know that if I had the right tools, this job, my own house would have been half the time and effort, and it would have looked a little better.
Well, people's got to start somewhere, so they can't start with
Right.
top of the line tools right off the bat.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I've got nothing wrong like starting off and starting off with that Harbor Freight saw, but there's a difference,
Well, you're going to wear it out pretty
Yeah.
fast.
So
That's the biggest thing, because I got to talk about Will here.
mm-hmm.
When he went into business for himself, he bought a Harbor Freight jackhammer.
Yeah, and it got the job done, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But now that he's got the other, I doubt he's going back to picking up that Harbor Freight one off the shelf.
We actually bid on a job where we had to take a 35-foot cinder block solid poured
Right.
column down, and I bought a electric jackhammer for $149, and it actually did better than a $1,400 Hilti.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But you also had to monitor the oil in it.
See, that's the key, right? I mean, like I said, let's just take the saws for example, because you and I we can go out and chop down a tree and cut it up into boards. I mean, it's physically possible, but isn't it a lot easier if we have electric saws that does that for us?
Yep.
I mean, that's my thing, and so the equipment makes the difference. And I just know that I was fussing and fighting with this floor, in the rental equipment, and that's nothing against the rental place. I mean, they did me right. They had the equipment; it worked fine, but it's just not the same. And
People rough rental equipment up.
right. Well, I mean, there's more chatter on the sandpaper than there was when on my machine when I had my machine, and it's just little things like that, and it's like it drives me crazy.
Could be. Well, a big thing, and I tried to explain this to a guy the other day. Before you ever use a piece of equipment, make sure it comes all the way up to the full RPM.
Right.
Because if you don't,
Yep.
whether it's a bushing or bearings, you're still being rough on the shaft and the bushing and bearings.
Yep. So.
Because there's some skill saws out there have ball bearings.
And
Some skill saws have bushings.
And compound miter saws are the worst for that because, and I've been bad, especially in a hurry, where it's like you pull the trigger and press it down. But you're right. Let it get up to speed first, and before you make that cut. And
another thing that most people don't realize: engage the trigger all the way.
Yeah.
Instead of just
to get it enough to turn on.
Yeah, and because eventually that trigger will arc, and the carbon in it will keep it from running. And then you got to my brush is bad.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I guess I do. I never really pay attention to what I do on the trigger. That's a good question. I don't know.
That was a repairman give me that lesson about 30 years ago.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good trick. I like that. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to pay attention. I mean, I think I pulled the trigger all the way.
So just take your time and think about tomorrow.
Yeah.
With your tools taken care of them.
Well, that's it. And, it's ended up, buying a new floor and nailer. And I was like, because I'm, I don't have that equipment anymore. Restocked. And it's like, I'm just going to buy it because I got enough to do later on.
And the thing about your equipment was you dealing with everybody that was ahead of you that rented that equipment.
Yeah. Well, on the rental, on the sanding machine for sure.
That's the reason I went the route with you put down new flooring. I had existing flooring.
Yeah.
And instead of using the floor sander or the orbital sander with the four pads on.
Oh, I hate those things. Oh.
And I've seen a lot of sanding marks in floors where they use them where they don't move them fast enough.
Yeah.
Then I went with a Scotch-Brite pad and a buffer.
Yep.
That way I could always keep it moving.
Yeah. Well, I ended up going back and renting one of the buffers and going back over it just because, I wasn't happy with it, with the drum sander. Because the drum sander's just, to me, I mean, you got to realize with professional flooring sander is a belt sander. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, I know if you don't know anything about sanding, they don't sound like there are a lot of difference, but there's a difference in that belt versus that drum, in the way it puts the pressure down, and the way it leaves the chatter and the weight. And and just right off the bat, right, when you look at the machine, the professional sanding machine runs off 240 or 220 volts instead of 200 or 110.
Yeah.
So it's literally twice as big, right? The motor is. And then that makes a difference. But anyway, I don't know why I'm complaining except because it's done and it looks okay. Like I've got, actually I went ahead and put, I went with water base because we're living in the house now, so I went with the water base so I didn't have to smell it.
It dries fast.
It dries way faster, yeah. And I actually, after the sealer and, typically sealer 2 to 3 coats of finish is good. But I actually went, just because I had it and bought extra, I went ahead and put a 4th coat, top coat over it. And it, that really made a difference on that.
Give it depth.
Yeah, give it some depth. And I was glad I did it. But I went natural. I'm a natural guy. All right. And why stain it, right? Went with, I didn't want a full rustic look, so I went with a number 1 and number 2. Like a good mixture there, and took my time and mixed it in so you couldn't see didn't want it to look like a patch job,
Well, good.
Yeah. So I got it done. Now I got a big screen TV in there and sit back and take it easy until the next project.
Till it snows.
Till it snows. And yes. And pretty soon I'll be talking to Randy again about helping me fix my deck. So I think that's the next big project. We'll see. I don't know. There's a lot. When you buy a house, there's lots of projects.
Yeah.
And
well, it doesn't make any difference. If it's a 5-year-old house, there's a 10-year-old house, 20-year-old house, there's projects.
That's it. And I'm catching up to the Randy Blake game where part of the house is a 50s model and part of it's a 70s model. So I'm right there in it, And it's been fun. It's been fun. I've got lots of things going lots of irons in the fire and lots of ideas. So it's fun though. And you want to know the best part right now? As we go to break,
it's mine.
It's mine. Yeah, and it's the smart home stuff's
well,
working.
It's not mine. It's Terry, but I just answered the question for him fast.
Yeah, but the smart home stuff's working too. That's pretty cool.
All right.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. That's right. All about home construction here in WATA. Thanks again for all of our listeners out there, and happy Saturday. Happy, last Saturday of the year. Or is there another Saturday? I have to look at the calendar. No, we have one more Saturday, the 31st. I forget. There was 31 days.
Not the year, the month.
Yeah, the month.
It is 2026.
You know what I mean. I meant the month. I forgot there was 31 days. I don't know what I was thinking. 31 days.
Well, that's all right. Man recently married, got a new house, working.
Right.
Night and day.
I know.
Time slips away.
Feel pity on me, man. Feel pity on me. So, yeah, you know what? Let's stick with that the homeowner thing here because the home ownership right now is sort of a big topic. I mean, it's a big topic everywhere in the country, not just here in the high country. And here in the high country, there's a lot of talk about affordable housing and single family housing and stuff, especially the closer to Boone itself is that you get, and when you get further away from Boone, you start to see a little more inventory. It seems like there's some rise in some inventory maybe compared to what we've seen in the more recent history, I guess.
Well, we've discussed affordable housing, which we know that's never going to happen.
Right.
As long as we have hurricanes or natural disasters, look at Helene, how many billions that's going to cost.
Right. And we just got more money from the state and federal.
People still doesn't have their homes fixed. And so as long as we have natural disasters and insurance companies have to pay out, in this case, federal government's paying out, but they don't control the lending rate. I mean, they do control the interest rate.
Right, but not, yeah.
And the interest rate has not been coming down.
Right.
To help. And, home sales in the last quarter dropped. And foreclosures is up unreal because of the interest rate not dropping. People anticipated buying a house, refinancing it, and
then can't get refinanced.
Yeah, exactly like you said. You qualified for a home loan, but you don't qualify for a refi.
Yep.
And so they're losing them.
Yep. Well, that's it, and that's something that we're starting to see though is like sort of this renting versus buying. Like what do you do? And when you look nationwide, owning a home nationwide is more expensive in that month to month
rent
than rent. In a lot of markets. I saw one thing in one study. It was talking about in U.S. home ownerships with a mortgage. pay about 36% more per month than the average renter in the nation. And now again, places like here in the high country probably skew that a little bit because we've got some higher rentals than the other parts of the state
because of the college.
Right? But still, I mean, that's when you look nationwide, 36% more per month. That's a huge chunk of change.
Well, I heard the other day on the news that they were going to work on stopping the corporate home builders.
Yes,
building
Trump. Trump came out and was I don't know if he signed the executive order or was talking about it, where they couldn't put that out. In other words, where corporate entities are limited and or restricted on what they can buy in terms of housing.
Well, you get a lot around Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
okay? They're buying these farms up. They're going in, putting these houses in. They're not selling these houses. The corporate's renting these houses.
Yes.
So they rent them for 7 years. They get their write-off on their purchase.
And then, right.
And then they're gone. But they control the market.
So, but the biggest thing right now is home prices have climbed more than, or faster rather than rent. I mean, than wages. And so in many areas, that upfront cost of ownership is just so much more.
Yeah, and it compounds here.
Mm-hmm.
Think about where we build in the mountains.
Right.
You never know how big your foundation is.
Yeah, totally. And, I think there is some of the, like this, maybe later in the next segment, we can get into the not just the headlines of this. There is some context. You are building equity, long-term debate kind of thing. But again, when you're talking about your monthly cash flow, there's a lot that goes into owning a house that is overlooked or not realized until you're in that situation.
That's right. Taxes, insurance,
maintenance, and repair.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of times rental, electric and heat's furnished. Water.
Right. Yeah. The maintenance and repair is the one that's that to me is because I was prepared for the insurance, I was prepared for the taxes, but it's the little repairs, and some of them are major, some of them minor. Luckily, knock on wood, I've not had any major repairs. Like we planned on doing the floors because I didn't like carpet.
I think that's a smart
right.
way.
I mean, I could have stayed with the carpet, but still, so some of those were choices, but. We've got a water heater that. So apparently in the house there's two water heaters, and then one of them, the smaller tank, feeds the master bathroom, but the hot water doesn't stay hot long. So I'm thinking there's probably an element issue. So I got
one of them out,
and so I haven't done anything with that yet. It's on my list of things, but there's little repairs like that, that is like. Pops up and that you don't think about, and I had to ended up changing out a complete light fixture instead of trying to fix a fan. It was just it didn't anyway. But so there's little repairs like that crop up that is like, that you don't plan on.
Yeah,
and some of those are expensive.
The owner pays.
Right. And so that's kind of the interesting thing, especially when you look at that monthly cash flow, right? Is that on a month-to-month basis that makes owning look more expensive right now?
Well, renting gives you, like you say, there's not as much money involved. You have to really pay attention about ownership. You know that,
right?
With all these insurance and stuff, and golly, I'm still hearing about insurance companies canceling people's insurance.
Right.
I've never heard of anybody canceling insurance on a house because what the inside looked like.
Yeah.
They've never been inside a house.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, when we look nationwide, like we have huge things, like we've got, fires in California all the time. We've had some flooding various places. We've had, here in the East Coast recently, we've had Helene that came through and it caused a ton of damage in Western North Carolina, but nationwide, I mean, it still affected other states and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think it's almost like some of these insurance companies, especially these national companies, which most of them are anymore. It's almost like they're too big. They're paying out too much, and so they're looking to cut. And I've heard many people talk about how that like they're losing insurance, or their insurance is threatening to drop them. Because of and what surprises me is sometimes it's insurance that like they've been with that company for years. Well, and then all of a sudden it's like,
you're looking at me. I mean, we've been with the same insurance company up till last year since 1986.
Yeah.
And because 10 foot was not enough entranceway to get in my basement, you could drive a car up to my basement door. That was not enough egress for you to get in my basement, and they were dropping my insurance.
Right.
Then we went to another insurance company. Well, we're not going to write you because you got a metal roof.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to another insurance company. Well, we can't write you because you got solar panels on your house.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, so the whole United States is geared up to make metal roofs will last forever if they're maintained.
Right.
All right. And everybody wants solar panels on their roof to save energy. So are you making the insurance companies mad because you're trying to save money?
Sure. But I mean, insurance companies now, it's easier for an insurance company to do things like check your roof because drones and technologies and stuff like that.
I still think they need to call you and ask you your permission to fly a drone over your house.
Right.
Because I guarantee you I'll go to jail.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And I told them, I said, you fly a drone over my house and I see it, I'm going to blow it out of the sky.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, it's just they're looking. It seems like they're looking for ways, and I've, and then again, like I said, here in North Carolina, Tennessee, we've went through a natural disaster about a year ago, and so now people have made claims on houses, and so as we have winter storms coming up, it raises that concern of like, well, what if I have to put in another claim? What if something else happens from an ice storm? What are we going to do?
And I've never had an insurance claim since we've been with them since '86.
To see, yeah.
Well, let me go back. My son wrecked a truck one time, and that's the only claim we had, and he was 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So now he's 40. So I mean, that's a good while back.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. So, but again, to go back to it, it really just comes down to that rental. I don't know why, like that's one of the huge costs though is that insurance, but it's a little cheaper. I mean, again, month to month, it's cheaper to rent, and I think that's.
Well, they're saying the national average on rent is $1,487 a month.
Okay.
All right. The average mortgage nationwide, that's taking all 48 states, I guess, and is $2,035.
Okay.
That's a savings on a renter saving $548 a month.
Wow.
Now, that's not saying if insurance is included or taxes and stuff like that, because each mortgage company does a different way.
Right.
Instead of like my mortgage company, they always try to get you to buy their insurance in your mortgage rate. Mm-hmm. And I never would do that. I wanted to buy my own insurance.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. One of these articles that you shared, it's a national article, but it says even in the cities with the smallest gaps between renting and owning a home, renters still pay less. And it's talking about, for instance, Phoenix or Columbia, South Carolina, Orlando, Florida. But even the largest gaps between owning and renting, it talks about San Francisco being the largest cost difference between renting and owning. There, the gap is between the two is $1,500. That's a huge gap between renting and owning a home.
Yeah, well, think about it. The house was built in the 20s.
Yeah.
In the 80s, we're bringing $450,000. Now those same houses bringing $800,000. Yeah. Now that's just a guess on my part.
Probably more than that at some of those. So. For sure.
I think Stuart Barney on Fox News Business was talking about his first house in California was 40,000, and he's going 700 and some thousand for that house. He said, "Now I should have kept that house."
Yeah, right. That's it.
Hindsight's 20/20.
And it always is. It always is. So we'll take another break. We'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening to us. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA and on the podcast. All about home construction wherever you listen to it, Spotify, Apple, or all the other cool places that you listen to your podcast. And share these with friends. We appreciate that. And trying to grow our listenership even more in this 2026 calendar year.
Yes, we will. We will try hard.
So, coming up on our 14th year. So we appreciate it.
We make it to March.
That's it.
You know, we might have an avalanche.
Never know. This winter weather could be the one. Could be the one. I have a feeling it won't be, but it could be the one.
Never know.
But anyway, talking a little bit about buying versus renting a home, and there's I definitely want to get back into the pros of owning a home, because I don't want to sound like we're talking too negative about renting versus buying, because there is a lot to do with that, that goes along with buying. But
the difference between renting and buying is a renter is averaging $6,576 a year. Yeah, and annually saving money.
Well, that's it. And so when you look at, especially for the people who, the way wages are these days, right, versus the cost of housing, wages have not went up, and housing seems to have gone up, and so a lot of people with good jobs are still tighter in the pocketbook, and so having that monthly cash flow being smaller is huge, I blame a lot of it on codes. Like I said, we got on that down the road with the insurance company. The insurance company pushes the building codes, which we are all supposed to be on the IRC code. Right. And because I always say IBC, but IBC is for commercial buildings. IRC is for residential buildings. Right. Well, so here's the thing. When you're looking at people who are buying versus renting, right? The older generation, the median age for home buyerships right now, so the typical age currently is 56 years old. So boomers and the Gen X are still making up a big share of that. But again, the median age being 56 years old that's a pretty high number. Well,
baby boomers 17%.
Yeah.
That's not Gen X either.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. And, those under 35 years old are more and more, they're more likely to rent than they are to own. Nearly 2/3 of the younger, of that population, under 35, 2/3 of that population rent. That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
And so... Now that's not to say that there's not those 25 to 35-year-olds. There's millennials, first home buyers.
Millennials are truly wanting to own their own homes.
Right. But again, the challenges that they're facing, these first time buyers are keeping those that are interested, keeping that down. And so again, there is some younger buyers, some Gen Z buyers and stuff, like, don't get me wrong, they're out there. But again, the median age of currently for home ownership is 56 years old. And so
where it used to be in the 40s.
Yeah. And
that's a big change.
There's a lot more single people these days in all age groups, young professionals, especially, individuals without children. Those are the life stage, I guess, people are. But then you also start to see these people, a lot of people on the opposite end of that spectrum. They're now on their own. Their kids have moved out to college or whatever, have grandkids, and now they're downsizing. And a lot of those people are looking back towards renting versus, traditionally, go back and I'm going to go own a condo at the beach, but
that way they don't have to mow the yard. Yep. And it's cheaper for them to pay the dues in the condo unit. Mm-hmm. And something else that's up tremendous is inherited houses.
Yes, sure,
because people can't afford homes.
Can't afford them. Yep.
And they're averaging $340,000 a year in inherited homes.
Right.
And a lot of kids aren't selling them.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But then a lot of kids are. Well, you really can't call them kids or young adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, not all these renters are in the situation where they can't buy. A big chunk of these people are people who are choosing not to buy, and they're choosing to rent to keep that monthly cash flow. And but a lot of that too is like for instance, I know of one situation where it's a younger couple. They're in their 20s and looking to move or get married and move in together, and they were looking at buying a house, but with his job, they think he's going to be moving in the next 5 years, and so they're going to rent instead of purchasing a home because they don't think they're going to be living there.
Well,
in 3 to 5 years.
I can see that because think of the market in the 70s and 80s on homes. They appreciated 3 to 5% a year.
Yeah.
All right. Unlike some of them today, in our market here,
Right.
people they're bidding more to buy a house.
Right. So, yeah, I mean that's the thing is, again, a lot of these people are making the choices, and so it's hard to say that there's whatever because but we're seeing different life stage renters making this choice to rent, and it's just interesting. It's just
Well, that's the reason I brought this up. This is different, isn't it?
Yep. Overall, we're still seeing that married couples with families are more likely to be the group that's buying. But again, a lot of those married couples are still renting. The single couples with kids, things like that, are renting is what we're seeing. But I think overall, the market over the past couple of decades, is the first time buyers. And that's going back to what I was saying before with the older generation being the ones that are buying. The first time buyers are, you don't have that young crowd buying as first time buyers, like in large quantities.
Well, you got to have some youngins that's willing to work.
Yep. Well, that brings us up too, right? Like, we talk so much on the show about, for instance, like the workforce, like we need people in the construction fields and stuff. And so as long as there's, that demand, in other words, there's demands for high paying jobs or higher paying jobs, even where, people aren't filling those jobs. So I get it that maybe they don't have the income sometimes.
Well, it's going to be hard because here's an article, Why the Pending Sales Decline.
Right.
Okay. And it's saying here that pending home sales in the U.S. declined by 5.9% month over month in 2025.
Mm.
That's quite a bit. But that's due to interest rates. Okay.
Right.
But then the average home cost in the United States is $428,742. All right.
Okay.
Now, I can't tell you whether that's a slab on grade because the cheapest house you can build is slab on grade.
Right.
If you got to put a foundation under it, and I'm just talking about a 2-foot foundation, you got to put footers in. You got to pour block, or you got to put block in. You don't necessarily have to pour the block solid, but you do have to pour a bond beam all the way around.
Exactly.
And then you start your floor system.
Yeah.
We're slab on grade. Your slab is your floor, your everything, your footer, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. So there's a big savings there. But if that's a slab on grade for $428,000, then that's going to push a house with a foundation closer to $500,000.
True.
But it's not giving me the square footage of that home.
Right.
And most time a starter home is 12 to 1,400 square feet.
Yep. Yeah, that's the crucial thing, and we see. I don't know. I would love to talk more to a real estate agent and see what they're seeing, because when I was looking for houses, like, we find a ton of houses in there in this market, and then I'm going outside of the high country here a little bit, just because I kept my eye on it. Most of the inventory that was coming up are in that range, that 12 to 1,400 square foot range.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of houses that were popping up that were closer to 2,000. And if they were, then you started reaching into the $500,000 or $1 million homes. And so when you filter out those like upper echelon homes, the 8 to $1 million homes, when you filter those out, the percentages of these smaller 12 to 15%, 12 to 1,500 square foot homes was the majority of them,
Yeah.
And so, because, for instance, me, I mean, like with Leslie and I, we have a big family, and we've got tons of kids and teenagers, and some in college and some not. And so,
But you need it.
That's it. We were looking for that. I have to have 2,000 square feet. I have to have a 4-bedroom or at least a 3-bedroom and some kind of bonus room for space.
Well, like us, when all the youngins, my little 1,100 square foot home
Right.
with me and Deb there, that's too big.
Sure.
All right, but when all the youngins
Right.
are there, it's too small.
Yeah. But see, that's what you're seeing, right? Or people like you, for instance, where it's like, okay, maybe I want to move off and go closer to where the kids are. I'm gonna sell my house. A lot of people starting to rent. In other words, they're packing up, and again, instead of going to the beach and buying the condo, they're now moving closer to the kids.
Well, I
and
got one
grandkids.
youngin now. He's going, Dad, you and Mom come out here. You can live in our rental home and not pay rent the rest of your life. And I'm going, well, we got the house paid for. Why can't I stay here?
Right.
Well, you just need to be closer.
Right.
Well, you the ones moved away.
Yeah. Yeah. But bring Dad with you.
And I just don't think I'd live too good in the city anymore. I had enough of Atlanta.
Weekends like this, when the snow and ice hits, may change your mind.
Yeah, but see, twice in Atlanta I seen it 18 below. In 79 or 80, March 6, 1980, Cherry Grove got 6 inches of snow. Mm-hmm. And I just laughed because they put a curfew on everybody. They couldn't get out to drive.
Yeah,
and
which is 90% of the people.
Being a good 21-year-old guy the way I was, I just knew I could just go across the state line. The beer store was open because Calabash didn't close. And I'll never forget that cop. He tried to get behind me, and he turned the blue line on and tried to get me to stop. And I just kept on going because coming out of the mountains, there wasn't nothing to it.
Yep, that's it.
He couldn't get across the bridge at Cherry Grove.
Oh, things have changed. We'll take another break. We'll come right back right after this. Thanks for listening to us. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there on the radio, on the podcast, and everywhere in between. And we mentioned it earlier. You can give us a call, 828-262-1567 on a Saturday morning from 8 to 9 o'clock here in Boone. Or, like most of us who work and don't always have access to give a call during that time, you can reach us out at allabouthomeconstruction@gmail.com. Send us an email. If you're listening to the podcast, you can also drop a comment, or you can go to the Facebook page. Facebook page seems to be easy for a lot of our listeners. We get a lot of comments from time to time from there. So All About Home Construction on Facebook.
Yep.
And we're, if you like the show, we ask that you share it with some friends. Help us grow the show. The more friends who listen to it, the more it rolls into more listeners, and we appreciate that.
And yes, we do.
So talking a little bit about home buying versus home renting. And again, it seems like nationwide especially, that renter ship, I guess, is up over buying home ownership. And, so we've kind of talked about the pros. And again, the cash flow, the monthly cash flow, the cost of renting seems to be what's the biggest drive of this. But I thought maybe, Randy, though, again, there's I don't want to discourage those who are looking to buy. I mean, we just talked about it. I just bought a house myself, and there's higher interest rates than sometimes. Depends on the market. It seems like a lot of places are home prices are still elevated right now. Not to say there's not deals out there, but again, looking around, stuff that I was looking at, in the past that would be, the $300,000 range, or now the $600,000 range.
Well, I can see why people want to rent.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talk about insurance stuff, but I remember, I got a friend of mine in Atlanta. I've known him now since 98.
Yep.
He's never bought a house. He said, "Why do I want to buy a house? My rent's cheaper than a new house."
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
And he's lived in the same house since I knew him.
yeah. Yeah. You know, to me, the biggest advantage though of being, if you're in the situation to finally buy, is that equity. You know, I like that it's.
Well, that was the American dream.
Yeah.
Equity is the dream.
Yeah.
It used to be buy a house, live in it 5 years, sell it, step into a better house, buy it,
Yep.
sell it in 5 years, and go on.
Right.
Only problem is, in our neighborhood here, you can't afford that 5 years down the road.
That's it. You know, but again, getting that equity growth, stable housing, you know that someone's not going to sell the house and make you move out. You know, but, and there's some, again, there's what I like about it, right, is that freedom to improve and remodel and customize. To me has been, now again, that's added cost, but it's just been, that's fun. And you know,
but that's making you dream.
Right. And that's been my thing is, you know, I mean, I've got a list of a mile long of things that I want to do, not necessarily things that I have to do. And that's where, you know, that to me is fun. And you know, someone like me, like I love doing that. Like I miss working with my hands. I missed working with wood and you know, swinging that hammer the other day, putting the floor down felt good, you know. And so it's that sweat equity is worth more than just the end product of the house, of the floor, right?
Well, that sweat equity.
Yeah.
That's what you're building, sweat equity.
Definitely. And so that goes a long way, to that. And, you know, it's cool. You know, so I still encourage families, you know, if you, for those with kids and families, if you want some of that stability, then yeah, like that's, home ownership makes sense. If you plan on being there fairly long term, it makes sense to look to buy still.
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. You know, again, people like I like doing projects. I like doing maintenance projects. Now, not in the middle of it. You know, I throw my hammer and say choice words myself, but the truth is, like I enjoy at the end. Like I changed the toilet out and felt pretty good about myself. You know, and so if you don't mind doing that, then home ownership makes more sense to you. And
yeah, you can read the instructions.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to watch
yeah,
all about not home construction.
Yeah.
You know, at home.
exactly.
HDTV.
Exactly.
I get really frustrated at that one.
Yeah. So I guess really what it comes down to, and I like this question here. It says, you know, is your house an expense or is your house a tool or investment, right? And I guess that's where you, as someone who, you know, has kids and works full time, like that's the real question, right? Is me staying in my house to, you know, shelter over my head, is that just another expense? Or am I looking at it like a tool, right? That, and so, you know, do you treat it as an investment? Do you treat it as a shelter, or do you treat it as both, right?
Well, it's both.
Right.
This is going to blow your mind. At one time, the average time to save up for a down payment on a house is 12 years. Now it's down to about 7 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time of savings, isn't it?
That's huge, yeah.
But that, you know, some lending companies I was reading are wanting 40% down.
Mm.
You know, it used to be you could get that by with 10% down.
10%.
And then it went
Yeah.
to 20%.
Yeah.
20% of 450,000. That's a big lick.
Oh, I know. It's huge.
And that means you're renting and you can't have any catastrophic incidents like your car blows up or,
Yeah.
you know, just anything can
For sure.
throw a ringer in it.
Yep. Nope. That's the thing, and that's, yeah. But right, that's the worry though when you own the home, like the heat pump could go out tonight.
Let's not talk about that.
That's why I got a propane backup, baby.
Man, I got my wood stove going.
I'd like to look at getting a wood stove. You know that, but
I think
going back to that insurance argument again. I don't know.
I think instead of a wood stove, I think if I had it, I'd do a pellet stove.
Pellet stove.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something about standing in front of a good wood heat.
Well, you can stand in front of a pellet stove.
It's just not the same. I like to see the good, pretty flame and open it up, burn my hands, and stick it in. That's the way it rolls, man.
Well, then get your smoker out and go to cooking.
Getting there, working on it. It's just one of my summer projects. I mean, right now, if you're asking me my summer project, one of them is going to be to build a cold smoker.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. One day I may invite you over for barbecue. We'll see.
Well, that's fine.
We'll see. I want some jerky. Maybe I can get you and Cotton to come over and show me how you make your jerky, and I'll smoke it in my cold smoker.
Ain't much jerky left. Cotton got into it the other day.
It's about time Randy goes hunting again.
Nah, hunting season's over. That's the joy of I've got a grandson wanting to hunt.
Yeah.
And then him getting on me because I didn't shoot that deer in the front yard.
Well,
why didn't you shoot that thing, Papaw?
You like to fish too. The big ones always get away, Randy. You always get away.
They have.
Uh-huh.
I've caught some big ones that's got away.
Yep.
Not freshwater, but
And then that
saltwater.
That 12-point buck still running on the other side of the mountain. I know.
No, he did make it, and the 8-point made it. Yeah, because I had somebody stop me the other day in the restaurant going, "Are you serious? You got a 12-point buck in your front yard and you've not shot him?" Yep. I said, "No, I'm waiting on Cotton."
That's Randy for you. Big one always gets away, hunting and fishing, whatever the.
Randy's been hung up on 8-pointers for a long time.
Thinks they're tender. They're the perfect.
Actually,
they're the perfect mix, are they?
Actually, the does are better.
All right. Well, there you go. There's another advantage of owning your home versus renting. You can hunt on your own land easier. So there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, all about home construction here. Hopefully, the listeners here are staying warm and staying dry and staying not buried up with snow as we speak. So.
Everybody be careful and be safe.
That's it. And stay tuned. This is one of those forecasts that's changing quickly. So stay tuned to the forecast and hope you stay warm and dry. Randy, it's been fun, man. Let's do it again next week. Take it easy.
Yep, it don't snow.
We'll see you then.
Bye.